Well,
Hello.
I
Hello.
okay.
Okay. I'll
There we
keep
go.
an eye on the participants, see who else pops in. But for the sake of time, we'll go ahead and get started. So thank you all for joining us today. My name is Renata Stankowska, and I'm the Assistant Director for Membership Services here at Almercon Delta Kappa. And today we are joined by Michelle Burke, who is an initiate of the University of South Carolina and also the coordinator for the National Circle. And she'll talk to us about her career journey, share some useful tips and advice in navigating our next chapters and journeys. So, Michelle, I'll turn it over to you.
Hi, well, good afternoon, everyone. It's great to see you all. This will be an interactive session, so we will have some breakout rooms. I would advise you to get pen and paper, or if you just want to take notes, get a little sticky note on your computer and take notes. But we will be doing some reflection exercises today where you'll need to write a few things down before you share with others. If you are in a place where you're not able to at least put your microphone on and talk to other participants. Please send a note in the chat to Renata so we can plan when we do breakout rooms. We'll not put you in a breakout room, but hopefully you'll all be able to participate in that piece. But I'm Michelle Burke, and I'm so excited to be with you today. I've been involved with Omicron Delta Kappa since 1997, a long time ago, probably before some of you were born. And ODK has been a big part of my life ever since I was inducted at University of South Carolina. Um, I moved on to one of my phases of my career was in higher education, and every campus I worked on, I was able to be involved with the circles at Ferris State University, Grand Valley State University, and Florida State University. And then when I moved away from campus-based roles, I was still able to serve on the board of directors, which is an option for any member of Omicron Delta Kappa to take a greater leadership role with the organization. And I would say that ODK has had a huge place in my life, and I see my ODK twin, Alex Desjardins, joining. Hey, twin. So Alex and I served on the board for many years together. He's promised not to heckle me too bad today in our session, but maybe, maybe not. But any organization that you're part of, it helps grow your network, and ODK has certainly been a huge part of my professional experience and personal kind of source of satisfaction for being part of it for so long. So good on you all for being active members of Omicron Delta Kappa. I hope you'll continue your membership long into the different phases of your life. But this session today is about writing your next chapter for your career. So I will put it out there. I'm turning 60 years old this year, and I have been working in full-time roles for 37 years. And I worked part-time roles long before that. And last night I was thinking about things about, how many jobs have I had in my lifetime? So I quantified it here. I've had 28 distinct jobs in my lifetime and 23 employers, really more than 23 because I was self-employed or still do consulting where I have clients. So I've had lots more clients and customers. Um, but I started, my first job was a retail clerk in a surf shop in Tampa, Florida. And now I'm a director of post-secondary programs for a workforce development nonprofit in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And with that work and all the work in between, I've developed skills, I've gained knowledge, ways of doing work, ways of collaborating with people, and every skill I picked up along the way I've been able to apply in the work that I currently do. And you're going to do the same thing. So it's just really important to recognize that. Just logistically, I see there's something in the chat, but I'm not looking at the chat, so Renata's going to take a look at that for me and keep me on my toes if there's any questions. If you do have questions, please put those in the chat as we go along, and we'll try to address them along the way. But I'm excited to work with you today. And whether you're at that beginning point in your career, midpoint, or you're like, can I retire yet? We'll cover all that today and help you be prepared. So the conversation today really matters now because careers are not straight lines. So I've came from a generation where you worked for one, maybe two employers in your lifetime. And I actually have several of my friends from high school who are retiring this year because they got one job, they worked in the same place, they might have worked up at that employer, but they worked in one place and they were able to get all the benefits and they are able to retire this year and really retire. Like they have a pension and they don't have to really think about working anymore. I have other friends that have had a different kind of career and they're working well into their 70s, sometimes 80s, and sometimes people want to do that. That's it. Having a purpose in life is really important, but it's just important to realize that careers are not straight lines. I've also had a great opportunity in the last decade to work for some startup companies with really young, ambitious, amazing people who make a lot of money over a couple of years working really hard, and then they take a year off and travel the world, and that's amazing too. So as you are looking at your experience and what you want to do in your world of work or not working, how are you shaping your career? And it's really unexpected events that can become a turning point for you. And every aspect of your life and career will give you the knowledge base to go to the next piece. And number 4 is really important to me because shit happens. So when it happens to you, rather than being exasperated and frustrated and upset and saying, "What now? What now?" You can think, "What's next?" in a good way. What about your detours are giving you that next opportunity that will be really exciting for you? So I'd like you to, again, I asked you to have a pen and paper or some way of taking notes, thinking about a career turn that you didn't fully plan. So thinking of your professional opportunity, a challenge, or a transition that shaped your career to date. So if you're younger and you're maybe, hey, Michelle, I'm in my first job, or I'm looking for my first job, think about your school experiences, different leadership experiences. I know for me, so my example here, I'll take it from my undergraduate years. I was really involved as an undergraduate, and I wanted to be an orientation leader. And I made my plans around it. Like that summer of my junior year, I was going to be an orientation leader. Well, I didn't get the position. And I was president of a group. I'd founded another group. I had a great off campus job, but I wanted to be an orientation leader. And that is what I had planned around, but I didn't get it. So I was upset for a while, but then it taught me that look at all the other great opportunities that you're already engaged with. Uh, okay, you didn't get that, but why? And it wasn't really anything that I did or didn't do. It was just there were a lot of people that applied and other people fit the bill for that position. But that kind of level of, I wouldn't even call it a failure, but at the time I considered it a failure. It shaped my attitudes for what came next. So think I'm going to give you about a minute of quiet time to, I did not plan for blank, but it taught me blank. Welcome back. All right, well, I failed to do this at the outset, but since we are here now, if you don't mind putting in the chat where you are today. So maybe you're not in school anymore, but put your city. If you're still in school and you want to put your school, that's great. And I would love to know where you're coming from today. So thinking about change, I had the pleasure of talking to Stephanie, and she talked about being in the healthcare world, and now she's in the accounting and moving into the business management world. But
Working with
part of sometimes part of our transitions can teach us what we don't want to do.
Gosh, are you in a meeting?
So,
No, it's a
oh,
webinar.
Luis, let's put you on mute.
Come on in.
Sorry.
Let's see. All right. Sometimes our transitions can show us things that we don't want to do. And I've certainly had that experience where you learn that, yeah, this isn't for me. So let's go to the next phase of our chapter. And a career theory that exists about just this kind of change in our career life is called planned happenstance. And I learned about this theory about 15 years ago almost. I was teaching a class at Grand Valley State University, a higher education administration class, and one of my students gave a presentation. She worked in career services and gave a presentation on this theory. And it really resonated with me because chance events shape every career. And it doesn't mean that you are waiting for things to happen to you. It means that you're preparing for things to happen to you. So that's what planned happenstance is all about. And so we're going to go through some of the skills that you can build and really exhibit to be ready for that next step for you. And I like to call this the theory about if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. So this is one of my favorite drag queens, and this was her motto. So I don't stay ready. I don't get ready. I stay ready. So you don't want to wait and see. You want to create the conditions. So choosing those intentional things that expand what you can learn. So if you need to go back to school for a new field, a new skill, do it. Put some thought into it and make sure it's the direction you want to go. But maybe you do need to do some informational interviews to find out more about a world of work you might be interested in. It might be about learning about yourself, but planning, taking those intentional actions that expand what you learn. And then the happenstance, stay alert to those unexpected opportunities that will come your way. And you're only going to know about those things if you're paying attention to what's going on in the world. So I have a job, and even when I have a job, I'm always looking at job openings. I look at LinkedIn almost every day just to see what job postings are out there. I have a real interest in what job descriptions, what kind of skills people need. I work now in workforce development, and so understanding the different needs of employers and the direction that the world of work is taking, that's very interesting to me. But it may not be so interesting to you, but the only way you're going to know about the opportunities that are out there is to pay attention to what's going on. So it doesn't have to be LinkedIn. It can also be professional organizations that you're involved with. It can be conversations, networking groups, but taking an active role and paying attention to what's going on around you. Not, and it can sometimes just be in your workplace. So happenstance, being ready for that next opportunity and being open-minded to it. So I've been offered a few things where I'm like, "Oh, there's no way I could do that. That, maybe that imposter syndrome kicks in. I love job postings where the employer says, all right, we've listed 15 requirements for this job, but if you only have 7, please still apply. Because when recruiters are looking at candidates, they're looking for potential in a lot of ways. And very few job candidates can know every aspect of a role at an organization. They have to learn it. So it's more about, do you have that ability to adapt and to learn? So taking that stance of being open and being ready for those opportunities, but also being ready to make a move if you need to. So these are the 5 specific skills that Crumboltz and his colleagues in developing planned happenstance really outline. And these are great things for you to take a look and see, are these skills that I already exhibit? Are these skills that I'm good at? Or are there things that I need to work on? So the first one is curiosity and thinking about, okay, I went to work, I got a job. This isn't the job I want to do. Or maybe it's a job I love and my company just laid me off. Those things are going to happen. But being curious about what else could happen with that pivot that you're taking. Or, hey, I feel like I'm in a dead end job. Is there anything else at this organization that I could do that really fills my cup, that makes me feel more satisfied? So being curious about that. It's also being curious about yourself. And so we'll talk about that in a moment. Persistence. So realizing that setbacks are information that you learn from. They're not just things that keep punching you down. So being persistent about what you want to learn, what you want to do, the next steps you want to take, persistence can be really key to your success. Being flexible, so understanding that you're on a path, a winding path, and that it can change. And you can change your direction without giving up your values. I've actually given up some roles because I felt my moral compass was being bent. So ethics is real important to good leadership. And so if you're in a place where it's maybe not so ethical, then be flexible enough to move on. Optimism. Uh, there might be something about this that I haven't really looked at yet. So I've met way too many people who call me after the first week and say, I hate this job. I'm done. And you have to give most things some time. There are some things where you can walk in and realize, nope, this is not for me. But there are other things where it's really important to give it some time, have a little optimism about the direction that you're taking. Optimism is also really important when you're in a job search, especially these days. The just the whole world of searching for a job and getting a job has really changed. So if it's something that you've been at a job for a long time and you're getting back into the job market, it takes a lot to remain optimistic. And then risk taking. Don't wait for something to be perfect. A lot of people are such perfectionists that they'll hold off on revising that resume or working on that cover letter because they want it to be perfect. And then by the time they get around to it, the job opportunity has closed. So it's great to have high standards, but you don't necessarily need to be a perfectionist. And you also can take risks, especially if it's roles that maybe you don't feel 100% qualified for, but you know you have it in you to do it. So those are the skills, and we're going to go in depth into each one just a little bit more. One more aspect of curiosity that I'd like to talk about is self-awareness. So there's lots of tools out there to become more self-aware. I'm a longtime facilitator of the True Colors personality process, and for me, that's a great starting point because it really helps you understand why you feel the way you do about certain things, how you communicate with other people, can even help you kind of hone in on the kinds of jobs and more importantly, the kinds of work environments that you feel you would be most successful in. A lot of True Colors is about self-esteem and what gives you high esteem, makes you feel great about yourself, and what things kind of drag you down. So understanding situations to seek and situations to avoid. Clifton Strengths is another great tool. There's lots of different personality tools out there. A team I work with recently used one called Working Genius, which is by Patrick Lencioni, who, if you've heard of Death by Meeting, that's another classic book in the business world. But Working Genius tells you here are the things you're good at, and here are the things other members of your team are good at, and how can you mesh together. So self-awareness can be really important. It's also not bad to think about, even if you've been in the working world for a long time, get back to basics on looking for your career interests. And also, lots of jobs that I've had jobs now that didn't exist when I was in kindergarten. And I just heard a stat the other day that 8 out of 10 kindergartners now will end up having jobs that didn't exist, that don't exist today. So work is changing, jobs are changing, and there's some tools you can use. So Renata has some links she's going to put in the chat. There's one called Career One Stop, and every state is a little different in how it sets up its workforce development. But at the federal level, careeronestop.org is a great starting place for anybody who wants to maybe take a few assessments and learn more about their interests in different careers, because there may be some jobs that you don't even know about. So curiosity, knowing what the possibilities are, but being curious. And then again, persistence. So things are going to happen. Layoffs, rejections, especially in the working world. I even think ghosting is worse than rejections. I really appreciate a rejection when I apply for something and I get a rejection pretty quickly, because I know, oh, that part of my brain doesn't have to worry about that application anymore. I can go to the next step and I can focus on something else. But if you're waiting, like, oh, I really want this job, and they never talk to you again, that happens and it really kind of sucks. But being persistent and I kind of have a personal rule that if I haven't heard back from something I've applied to or interviewed with in like a 3 week period, I just move on. So, and then you can be pleasantly surprised if they get back to you later, but it just helps with that optimism too, just to keep things moving. But thinking about experiences that you've had, different pivots you take, setbacks, always reflecting on what did it teach you? What can I do next with that information? And again, being flexible. So, a big piece of at least folks from my generation is connecting your work title and your work identity to your whole identity. And then, if for some reason you don't have a job, it completely strips your identity. And then, well, what am I if I'm not a director of whatever? So, um, understanding that you're much more. You can be a friend, a son, a daughter, a mother, a father, an uncle, an aunt. You can be a dog mom. There, there's different identities you can take. You can be a volunteer. You can be someone who, I'm a member of ODK. There are different identities you can take on that aren't always related to work. It can be more to your family and your interests. I'm a surfer. I'm a painter. What are some interests that you have that can help you be more flexible about things that mesh with your values rather than just a job?
Sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask, I put it in the group chat. Are we going to be, I know this is being recorded, but are we going to be getting this slideshow? Because I'm spending all of my energy taking notes and not really absorbing much of what you're
hmm
saying.
We can at least share an outline with you for today, and
Okay.
the recording will be available.
Okay, that's
So thanks
excellent.
for that
Thank you so
question,
much.
Davison. Appreciate you.
Thank you. I can't multitask well.
No, I appreciate it, and I want you to be engaged, so thank you. And I always share a lot of information, so we'll share the links and things as well. So optimism is that next piece. And again, when you go through transitions, if you're in a space where I really want this and I'm not getting it, it's hard to be optimistic. But I actually find that I draw optimism from connecting with other people, from volunteering, from giving of my time to other folks. So if I have found myself in setbacks, I look for the other things in my life that bring me joy, and that can really help with optimism. And then risk taking. So, maybe you want to stay where you live geographically, but your opportunities might open up if you open your mind to working somewhere else. You might say, "Oh, I only want to work remotely." But then you're giving up an amazing opportunity that, yeah, it might require working in an office, um, but it could be the thing that you really need, even though you think, I need this kind of work environment. Or maybe I could never work remotely, but a remote opportunity might be the thing that's great for you. So taking risks, I'm going to challenge you today to do some experiments. So do some things that get you out of your comfort zone, and that can get you on that course of being able to take risks and just being more confident in what you have to offer. So the next piece of reflection that I'd like you to embark on is mapping your career clues. So thinking about these 4 questions, um, thinking about maybe an unexpected turn that you took, a strength that helped carry you through that pivot. So one way to think about it is, what's a role, a project, or a season of my life that shaped me? And then the second question is, an unexpected turn that I navigated was this. The strength that kept showing up was here. And then what's something that you want that next chapter of your life to honor? Maybe you want to have options for more travel. So, do you want a job that includes travel, or do you want a job that makes enough money where you can spend your off time traveling? There are different ways to look at what your values are and the work that you would do to get there. So, I'm going to give you a few minutes to work on that piece. So I'm going to put you back in breakout rooms. If you're not able to go on off your to use your microphone to talk to your counterparts, just don't choose the room. Just stay in the big room, and we'll try to get those of you that are able to participate. We'll put you into breakout rooms to discuss these four questions. Well, welcome back. I think everybody's back now. Are we back? All right. Well, since it took you a while to come back, that means you were having good conversations. So I'm glad to see that. Um, would anyone be willing to share? What are some transferable strengths that you think you can carry from role to role? You can either come off mute or you can put it in the chat, either way. What are some transferable strengths you personally carry from role to role?
I think Davison was raising his hand.
All right.
Um, I'd consider this a strength and a value. Reliability.
Yeah.
I would like my future employers to know that, I can be relied upon, that I won't, fall off the face of the earth.
Hmm.
And then in return, I would like to know that that my employers are reliable, that my coworkers are reliable. So
Hmm.
if something pops up, if there are extenuating circumstances, because I have earned their trust, they'll know that, you know, I need them to step in and support me, whether that be taking over my job for a day or whatever it might be, because I'm
Hmm.
going into education. So,
Hmm.
if I get sick, they'll know that since I will have since I won't have used that as an excuse, they'll know that when it does happen, it happens. So
Yeah.
my being reliable for them and them being reliable for me.
That's huge. I was just talking with colleagues about that this morning because in workforce development, there's we used to call it soft skills, then they started calling it essential skills, and now we call it durable skills. Um, but it's really what employers want to see from either high school or college graduates coming into the early workforce. And um, it's really about, can you show up for work when you're supposed to? Can you at least try to do the job that you were given to do? Can we count on you? Are you reliable? And reliability is like one of the big ones. In the chat, I see analytical skills. Those are huge. Resilience, yeah, being able to handle whatever comes your way. And that's what this presentation's all about, is resilience. So good. It's good to recognize those qualities that you have. And I think, Davison, you mentioned that you want your coworkers to have those same qualities. And so that's definitely bringing your values into your job search, into what you want from a workplace. So that's really important to look for. Great.
I
Well,
mean,
thank you for your engagement with that.
if there are ever extenuating circumstances, I want to know that that I have that cushioning, that support group among my
Hmm.
employers, employees, coworkers, etc. I'm sorry, I know I was very wordy. You
No,
hush it
it's
up now.
awesome. I love it. Thank you. Thanks for participating. Uh, I'm glad that you were able, for most of you, were able to participate in the breakout rooms. Strategically did that because we want you to network with each other. One thing I would love for you to do right now, and Renata, if you can put my LinkedIn link into the chat, if you have a LinkedIn profile and you'd like to connect with others, please put that profile in the chat so we can connect with each other. You also, as a member of ODK, you have access to my ODK, which gives you access to our member lists, and you can see who the other members are in Omicron Delta Kappa, and you can go to events. But getting to know each other and connecting with each other. Um, just connecting on LinkedIn is a start, but then that next piece is to actually have an exchange of ideas, an exchange of resources, exchange of support. Um, it's very important that when you're networking, you consider it a relationship. It's not just a transaction. So I will often get connection requests from people that I've never met. I don't know who you are. I didn't meet you. You might be connected to one or two of my connections. But if I haven't really interacted with you in some way, I probably won't accept your request. But I always look, and if it's an ODK member, I'll take it. And or if it's someone that has that connection to some of the other parts of my life, then I'll be happy to connect with you. But connecting with each other is really important. Um, and in person, I think we're getting further and further, thankfully, away from the pandemic times and um, get back out in person. Go to events in your community, go to events in your profession. Um, you don't have to be best friends with the people at your job and who you work with, but you can be cordial. But in your overall field or the field you want to be in, there's generally a group for every kind of interest. So looking for those things is really important. Um, there are meetup groups, there's pages on Facebook where then they turn into in-person meetings with folks, but using that networking because it's just more surface area for those opportunities to arise. When I did my math about the jobs that I'd had, let me find my notes here. I was thinking about it last night. Um, of all the jobs I've had, more than half of them I wouldn't have known about the opportunity if it weren't for my network. And I actually got one job. I didn't even have to give a resume. I got an interview with the founder and CEO of the startup, and I got the job because of a former student of mine who I kept up with on LinkedIn, and I just sent him a note saying, "How you doing?" I wasn't even looking for a job at the time. I said, "How you doing? Want to know about this company you're working with? It sounds really cool." He goes, "Oh, we just opened a new job, and you're perfect for it." Within 2 weeks, I had a new role that I wasn't even looking for, didn't expect it. And um, and it turned into an amazing experience. And it was just because of me working my network. The job I have now was a friend of mine said, "Oh, I see this job's open. Can I refer you to the recruiter?" Yes, those kind of things happen from networking. And you can do those things for people too. So even if you don't even have a role right now, or you don't think you have resources, if you have knowledge and you're paying attention to what's going on in the world and you have at least connections through LinkedIn, you can share somebody's open to work post. You can see that, oh, I just saw a job posting that I think fits my friend Renata great. Let me send it to her. So those are the kinds of things that you can do to add value to your networking relationships. So just to review, the 5 skills for turning that chance into momentum and being ready, staying ready, so you ain't got to get ready. So that curiosity, the persistence, flexibility, optimism, and risk taking. If you start bringing those into your life's work, you're going to be more prepared for those next opportunities. So I said I was going to challenge you with an experiment. So I have a few things you could do to build um, your repertoire of planned happenstance. And I'd like you to commit to doing at least one of these things. And then not even at least, just choose one. Choose one of those things that you're going to do. We've got the holiday, July 4th coming up. So you've got about a week before holiday living kicks in. So in the next week, what's one of these things that you could do? Reaching out to somebody for a 20-minute learning conversation. Um, Number 2, this webinar does not count. So you got to pick another one, but find an event that's outside of your usual activities to participate in. And I would prefer, if it is a webinar, that it's something that's interactive like this, that it's not just one of those sit and gets, but anything that's going to expand your curiosity and maybe help you network with somebody. Thinking about your own story, and you did a great job today sharing your story of pivots and moving in different directions and the strengths that you carry from role to role. Think about that in the ways that you present yourself, either in your LinkedIn bio or the professional statement at the top of your resume or your elevator pitch. What's a way that you could rework that to make sure that you're presenting yourself in a really true reflection of who you are? Volunteering that could get you to meet new people or use your analytical skills, help an organization with problem solving, because those volunteer opportunities can really turn into career opportunities as well. And then if you're really struggling in describing yourself, a great tactic is to go to a trusted colleague. It can be a friend, it can be a coworker. Sometimes family members are good for this, but usually your mom has too much of a rosy view of who you are to ask your mom, but a trusted colleague on what strengths they consistently see in you, that can help you tell your story as well. So think about which one, write it down because I'm going to ask you later which one you want to do. And here's where you're going to put that. So the next sentence in my career story is, and this week I'm going to create conditions for opportunity by, and whatever you chose from the previous list. And if you don't mind sharing that in the chat, I would love to know what you're committing to. And
What
you
do
can send
you
me a private note in the chat if you don't want to share it with the whole world.
do you mean by the next sentence in my career story? I'm sorry.
It could be, I'm going to find a great teaching
Oh,
opportunity. The next sentence in my career story is I'm going to manage an accounting firm. The next sentence in my career story is I'm going to take a year and travel the world. Whatever it is you want to do. What's your aspiration? And if you don't mind sharing in the chat, at least the second part of it, what commitment are you going to make? Which experiment will you take next week, in this next week? I love it. Reconnecting with an old mentor. One thing I started doing during the pandemic was kind of going back through my contacts list and trying to have an actual conversation, not just texting, not just sending little messages back and forth, but having a real either phone call or Zoom call with someone that I hadn't seen in a long time. And I've gotten a little busy lately to do that every week, but when I have downtime, I really try to do that and have catch ups. So. All right, I see some good entries here. Let's see. Thank you, Davison. I love it. There's such a need for special education teachers. So I think you can write your ticket where you want to live. If you want to stay in Richmond, then that's awesome.
I'm going to need to stay somewhere with a good bus line because driving
Mm.
is not my strong suit.
I was just at a conference where people were talking about how new college graduates aren't driving, which that can change the world for sure. People are gonna want to live where they can get to public transportation.
Well, my hope is that because I have constraints, but my hope is that those who do not want to do it will, end up shifting the national mindset from
Mm-hmm.
individual transit to mass transit, because that would
Mm-hmm.
certainly make my life easier.
Yeah. My next chapter, hopefully, is spending a lot more time in Spain, and I never drive when I'm in Spain. I always take public transit. So, all right, Shannon, you're going to reconnect with your references. You're going to volunteer for a small project. I love it, Jada. Thank you very much. And thank you for sharing your LinkedIn's. I would encourage all of you continue the conversations you started in the breakout rooms today. Connect with each other on LinkedIn. Um, make those ODK connections. Like I said, it was great to see Alex today. I haven't seen him in a long time. All right, I love Ronald McDonald House. That's amazing.
My parents went to Ronald McDonald when I was little.
That's great. It's called Ranucci House here in Grand Rapids, but there's a Ronald McDonald House
Yeah,
here
I've
outside
never
of our
been,
Children's
so I'm
Hospital.
excited to go and volunteer and see it. I've always heard of Ronald McDonald House, from
Yeah,
McDonald's, but I've never actually been, so I'm excited to
it's
participate
really
in it.
rewarding. And our communities need so much. I'm on a board of a local nonprofit, and we're going through some rough times right now because a lot of grant money has dried up, but they need expertise of people like us. And Omicron Delta Kappa and the experiences that you've had in school and in your working roles, you have what it takes to be on a volunteer board in your community. Um, and I really enjoy that because I worked remotely for 7 years of my most recent career, and now I'm back in an office. But to be in my community and interact with other people, it just gives me a lot of energy, and I really do appreciate what other folks have to offer. Because you're at our webinar today, I do have a day job. Like I said, I work for a workforce development organization in Grand Rapids. Um, and I'm a director of post-secondary programs, but I also do career coaching and I can help with LinkedIn profile review. I can work with you on True Colors or Clifton Strengths. But if you would like a 15-minute free consultation, be happy to talk to you more about your personal situation and what you'd like to do, and how we can help you prepare for that next move and that next chapter in your career. So I put Renata, if you can put my LinkedIn in the chat again, and then it's a long email address reflecting a chapter of my life that like started 15 years ago, and I wish I'd picked a different domain name, but it is what it is. So, but very happy to meet you all today. And then I do want to give a plug for the National Circle. So, if you haven't heard of the National Circle, maybe some of you are some of our members. If you're a member of any circle of Omicron Delta Kappa, you're actually also a member of our virtual circle, which is the National Circle. And we were formed a few years ago to recognize that there are lots of campus leaders that should be part of Omicron Delta Kappa, but their school does not have a circle on their campus. So we accept applications and nominations for members of any student or faculty staff member who is at a school that does not have an active Omicron Delta Kappa circle on their campus. We accept membership applications from people who still meet at least one of the 5 pillars of leadership. Um, and show that they have all the criteria that all of you fit the bill for to become members of ODK. And we have a group of officers. So right now we have a student officer he was a student and actually I think the president of the Virginia Tech Circle. Now he's in graduate school at Michigan State University and he's serving as our circle president right now. And we have a circle vice president who went to Tuskegee University and now she's in graduate school at another institution. She joined the National Circle as a student at Tuskegee, and now she is one of our officers. But we're looking for more members who want to be engaged in a virtual way. Our major program is called Teach Outs, and it's actually just like this. We do webinars, but our webinars are open to anyone who wants to attend, not just ODK members. And then we're also trying as we grow as a national circle and as a virtual organization that's part of Omicron Delta Kappa. We're looking for new ways to engage with people virtually through virtual service projects, networking events, and just getting more involved. So maybe you've graduated and you're no longer with your active campus circle and you want to do more with ODK, the National Circle is a great entree into that. And there's also other volunteer opportunities. If you go to MyODK, you can learn about the different committees you could serve on at the national level. I think we're always looking for scholarship reviewers, reviewers for our applicants to scholarships and awards. So these are ways that you can stay engaged with ODK, give of your time, work on that optimism, work on your skills that will help you in that next chapter of your career. But I do want to thank you for your participation today. I can stick around for a couple more minutes if you have questions. And I look forward to seeing what's next with your next chapter. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, Michelle, and thank you everyone for coming out today. Yeah, speaking to engagement, we want you all here, and we're happy that you're taking advantage of the resources that we're trying to put together for you all. So also be on the lookout for future webinars. We hope to keep this on a monthly cadence, and if you yourself feel like you have wisdom and expertise to share, feel free to reach out to me, and we can talk more about your opportunity to speak. But yes, I will also be following up with you all with a link to the video of Michelle's session as well as her contact information. So you will get all of that over email, hopefully by the end of the day today. But be on the lookout for that. So thank you, everybody. Really appreciate your time. And thank you, Michelle, so much. This was wonderful.
Yeah, thanks. So good to meet you all.